The wind swept mercilessly across the barren desert plains as nightfall bled through the sky, a cold blue darkness coating the land like a shroud. His horse injured, his supplies scattered, and the storm rolling down from the mountains promising a death colder than any bullet. He staggered through the dust, breath crystallizing, vision blurring, until a shadow moved through the dim light, swift, silent, decisive. An Apache woman on horseback, wrapped in layered hides, her braids adorned with feathers of ravens and falcons. Her name, she would later reveal, was Nayeli, which meant I love you, though her expression showed nothing of warmth. With a single glance she assessed his condition, and the danger closing in with the cold. Without giving him time to speak, she dismounted, checked his pulse, and muttered something he didn't understand but knew carried urgency. She pulled him toward her horse, threw his weakened body over the saddle, and rode into the night without explanation. He remembered only fragments: the rhythmic gallop beneath him, the scent of smoke in the distance, her voice chanting something that sounded protective yet fierce. When he opened his eyes again, they had reached a small shelter carved within a rocky ridge. Let alone two. Nayeli dragged him inside, her voice firm and commanding. If we don't sleep in the same bed, we will freeze tonight. Don't resist. Her words struck him like thunder, direct, unyielding, carrying a tone that brooked no argument. She explained quickly, in a calm but urgent manner, that in nights like this the wind cut through skin and bone, and without body heat, no one survived. Daniel, weakened, could barely protest. She pulled him close, their bodies pressed beneath a heavy blanket of fur. The fire's glow flickering shadows across the stone walls. At first it felt awkward, strange. For hours they lay together, the wind howling outside like the screams of spirits. Daniel felt her heartbeat, steady and controlled, a stark contrast to his shivering fear. Slowly, her presence calmed him, grounding him, anchoring him in ways he did not expect. Nayeli spoke softly then, telling him of the mountain storm spirits her people believed in, how they punished wanderers who disrespected the land, and how tonight the spirits were angry. Daniel listened, entranced by her voice, the cadence of her words soothing him like a lullaby. She wasn't afraid of the storm. She respected it. Through that long night, their breath mingled, their bodies warmed, and an unspoken connection formed, necessity giving way to reluctant trust, trust giving way to a fragile bond forged in the dark. When dawn finally broke, though still cold and unforgiving, "The storm returns tonight," she said simply, "and you are not strong enough to travel." Something in her tone hinted this would not be the last time they shared such closeness, and Daniel, staring at her through the early morning light, knew that he was no longer alone in this harsh land, not in warmth, not in fate, and maybe not in heart. The second day began, with Daniel regaining strength, and Nayeli preparing the shelter with methodical precision, each movement a reflection of years surviving the unforgiving desert. Outside, the wind shifted ominously, carrying with it the scent of snow from the distant peaks. Daniel attempted to help, insisting he could gather wood or repair the fire pit, but Nayeli's sharp gaze halted him in his tracks. "Your pride will kill you faster than the cold," she said, tightening the fur cloak around his shoulders. Despite her sternness, Daniel could sense something soft beneath her warrior exterior, a flicker of concern she would never willingly admit. As the hours passed, she finally allowed him to speak of his mission, and a desperate attempt to end a brewing conflict before it erupted into war. Nayeli listened in silence, every word weighed like stone. When he finished, she told him an uncomfortable truth: his message may not be welcomed by everyone, and some might kill him before he ever reached his destination. His presence was a risk to them both, yet she didn't send him away. As the sky grew darker, the temperature fell rapidly, the desert transforming again into a frozen wilderness. Nayeli lit a small fire, far weaker than the night before. "The storm is worse today," she warned. Nayeli sighed an exasperated, reluctant sound. "Tonight will be harder. The fire cannot save us." Daniel looked at her, the memory of the previous night warming him from the inside out. "If we don't share the bed again." To her, survival was sacred. Hesitation was death. The storm howled into the night, more violent than before, and the two found themselves pressed together beneath layers of fur. But this time, it wasn't only necessity. Daniel felt her relax against him, her breath steady against his chest. He whispered his gratitude, and for the first time, she didn't silence him. Instead, she told him about her past, the family she lost, the traditions she upheld, the strength required to remain unbroken. Daniel listened, feeling the weight of her words, realizing how much she had carried alone. At some point, the storm grew so fierce that even the rocks trembled. Yet inside their small shelter, warmth bloomed from more than body heat. It came from trust, forged deeply in the shared struggle for survival. Footsteps quiet, but numerous approached from outside. Apache warriors. Nayeli tensed, clutching Daniel tightly, whispering urgently in his ear. "They must not see us like this," she warned, eyes blazing. "They won't understand." But it was too late. Daniel felt panic rise as they surrounded him, bows drawn. Before a single arrow could fly, Nayeli stood between him and her people, her voice fierce and unyielding. "He is under my protection," she declared. Every warrior froze. Daniel realized then that she wasn't just any Apache woman. She was the daughter of a chief, someone with power and responsibility he had never imagined. Her people demanded answers. She offered none beyond her vow to protect him with her life. The tension was thick, the cold biting through even the bravest hearts. Finally, after a long, suffocating silence, the warriors lowered their weapons. They trusted her, but only barely. As they departed, Nayeli turned back to Daniel, her voice trembling slightly for the first time. "You are safe," she whispered, "but our fates now walk the same path. What happens next will change everything." Daniel reached for her hand, hesitant yet determined, and she didn't withdraw. Outside, the storm faded, giving way to pale morning light. Inside, warmth remained, not from fire or furs, but from something far stronger, a bond that refused to break. Their journey had only begun, and destiny was already calling.